So I think what I want to do this morning is actually take this 5/16 or 3/8. I think it's 3/8 plate and make a base for my vise. That way then I can mount whatever I need to if I decide to do a swing down vise or decide to do like a removal vise or whatever, however I want to do it, I'll have the plate to weld to instead of the vise itself. So let's go ahead and set the vise up on here, draw it all out, and we'll torch cut the outside edge and probably more than likely have to do a flap wheel cleanup on the base. So here we go. Okay folks, so we got our vise, very heavy, set over here on to my plate. We're going to take a soapstone that's used for drawing on metal and cutting and draw around the outside of it. Okay, so we've drawn around the plate with our soapstone, so let's move that now. Oh. Whew, that thing is heavy. Hey, I need your guys' help with something. So someone explained to me in the comment section why a vise has 3 mounting tabs and not a 4th one right here. Any of you guys that are smarter than I am, tell me about that and let me know why that is like it is. So there you can see, we've got it drawn out here. So now I'm going to go get my torch apparatus. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to torch this off after I put all my protective gear on. So let's do that. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is cut into my table, obviously. So I'm going to scoot this out here off the edge a bit and take my C-clamps. Time to get my safety gear on. You don't want to get burned. You don't want your eyes burned or your arms burned. Now, I'm not going to wear sleeves today, but I am wearing welding gloves. So anyway, let's get all this stuff together and get started cutting. How about that? Hey, like that? Stylish, right? Okay, here we go. We want to make sure we got a pretty good blue flame coming out right there. Well, you can see it there, folks. It's a rough cut, yeah, that's for sure. And I'm going to take the flap wheel and clean off all this slag from the cutting process and then clean the corners up. 'Cause, you know, I'm not the greatest at cutting with a torch, but it's always the nature of a torch is it's going to leave the lines, kind of jagged, serrated lines along the edges. Okay, so I went pretty fast whenever I was cutting with the torch, and you can see it's kind of jagged, and it's kind of, it's not pretty, but I'm going to fix that. It's going to take me a few extra minutes, so I guess I should have just slowed down with the torch. However, it's got the shape. I'm going to take it over on my grinder and a bench grinder, do a little work to it after it cools off a little bit more. So something I would highly recommend for you guys if you're doing any fabrication work is a set of transfer punches or center hole punches. These are made to go in specific size holes, like a drill bit. but when they go in, they center themselves in the hole, obviously. And then this little tip right here, it puts a hole, or puts a dimple right in the center of the hole. Now, mine only go up to, I think this is about a 7/16. These are like at least half inch or 5/8 holes. So it's not gonna be perfect on this particular application, but still gonna be closer than just kind of feeling around in the dark, so to speak. So I'm gonna get those going there here in a second. Well, there it is. Not my most perfect creation by any means, but it does the job. I may clean up a little bit more with the grinder, but honestly, it's gonna be sitting on the bottom of the vise. I think it's okay. I countersunk the holes just to make them cleaned up a little bit and to get the bolt to go through a little easier. So there it is. We got the plate ready for that. Now we got to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it. Am I going to swing it, or am I going to have it to move in and out? So there you go. So I've decided on my shop vise mount, my bench vise mount, I'm actually going to do the receiver hitch 2-inch tube. Yes, it's heavy, but honestly, it's going to stay here on this table quite a bit. When I want to take it off, I can. If I have to use my tractor to do that, I will, but I probably won't, honestly. But I just think it's too much trouble to try to build a swing down, especially one that's heavy enough to hold that and do what I need it to do. So going back to the whole idea of using a plate, this is going to be mounted to the plate on the vise, like so. You guys can see that. Then that's going to slide in a 2-inch receiver, kind of like your pickup truck would have. So I'm going to try something I talked about earlier in the video, and I'm going to actually cut this with a torch, but I'm going to cut it slowly, and I'm using a guide. As you can see here, the piece of angle right there, I'm going to put my torch right here, cut along that, see if I can get a much better cut. So let's try that now and see what we got. And then we got some welding and drilling to do. I may skip over part of that. Like I said, you guys have seen people weld, cut, grind, and drill and all that stuff on YouTube so many times. I'm no magician at it. You know, I do it like a lot of people do, so it could get boring for you guys. But let me know in the comment section if you guys like watching me do the whole process or explaining the whole process, or you just like kind of the sped up version. Let me know, because I need to know what to make for you guys to enjoy the videos, and try to teach you a few things along the way that I've learned. So let's get this thing cut out. Well, folks, that went somewhat better. The cut is cleaner until I get to this end, and I got the wobbling a little bit. But what has happened is the same thing happens every time I start a project, seems like. Out of oxygen, or you're out of acetylene. Either way, I'm out of oxygen now. It's a Saturday with a blizzard coming in. What do? All you gotta do is laugh about it, you know. I should have checked. It's my fault, you know. Should have checked before I started this project yesterday, Thursday, something like that. But anyway, that's on me. So that's the kind of stuff that happens to everybody. You know, you just get busy and you forget about things. So there it is. Okay, I just want to tell you guys something that I'm really excited about. Is this table, it's working out tremendously well. It is the right height, it's the right width, it's the right dimensions for a lot of things. My friend Jeremy gave me the idea for this thing, and honestly, I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall. I'm a big guy. I hate bending over. I'm not as young as I used to be. I have some back issues like a lot of people do that's worked, you know, all your life. And this table makes it to where I can do things without having to crouch for a long period of time or bend over and pick up. It's already working out great. I can't wait till I get some of the accessories put on. And what I'm gonna do, I'm not going to bore you guys throughout this whole video and make it an hour-long video. Nobody wants to watch that, but I'm going to add accessories as I go and document that and let you guys see what I do. Now, this works for me. This may be the dumbest idea you've ever heard of, but it works for me and what I do. And the whole goal of this table too is I'm trying to learn how to TIG weld. And I've got a stool, and I matched the stool and the footrest on the bottom and everything to the stool height and the table height. And I think it's going to be great. It's going to create an area where I'm not going to have fatigue from sitting here welding. So I'll give you guys a layout of what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm not going to show you every step of the way. That just gets boring. Put my gloves back on because I know this piece of metal is still hot. So this is going to be our base plate. I've got to clean up the slag on it, obviously. But then I'm going to weld this to it, like so. I'm going to drill 6 holes, 2 out here, 2 in the middle, 2 in the back, and then it's going to mount to the underside of the table. Then this is going to be welded to the vise plate, and it will slide in here like so. And I'm actually going to put a little spacer on this so it tightens it up. The reason that is because this is standard wall tubing. It's not DOM. And what you get with that is this, if you guys can see that seam right there, if I got 1/4 inch wall, this would not fit in there unless I ground a groove in here to match the weld seam, or I had a way to push this out, or grind it out. But check out Fireball Tools. He shows a tool that he makes to push through here with a hydraulic press, and it cuts that out. It's got a machining tool on the end of it, piece of tool steel. So pretty neat idea what he came up with. But that's the plan for now. So I got back from lunch, and we've got this piece of metal here. I've sanded or ground all the corners down. It's not perfect, but it works for what I'm doing. So now we're going to get ready to weld this onto the plate. We're ready to start putting the vise on the table. So here we go. So I went to our local industrial supply hardware place, got all this stuff. I got these socket head countersunk screws so I can put them down through the table. Got a new drill bit and all the locking nuts for everything. So let's go get started putting holes in this plate. Okay, so I lied. I'm going to show a little bit of welding. So there you have it. We got a really good heavy tack on all of it. Gonna let it cool, and then I'm not going to completely weld this from one end to the other. There's really no use. Plus, it could cause warpage in the tube, so we're not going to do that, but we're going to keep working on this, and I'm getting a lot closer. Well, folks, there you have it. Stage 1 is complete, almost 90%. I've got to get a bigger countersink bit so I can pull these down flush with the top. Then I'm going to drill a hole through this part and that part to where the vise won't fall out if I tip the table up, which I sure will be when I'm moving it. But other than that, fixing these countersinks and putting that hole through there, and I'll probably paint the piece under the table. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to make up my mind, but there we go. That's phase 1 now. There's more coming, but I'll stretch that out in a couple of different videos because I know you guys just don't want to sit here and watch me work forever and ever and ever on this table. So anyway, that's about it. We're pretty much done for now, so there we go. So like I was saying at the beginning of the video, it's been about 4 hours since I've started the video, actually recording. But anyway, right here's what we got. It is snowing. It's very small snow. We don't have any freezing rain or ice right now, so that's good. I can take snow. But anyway, thanks guys, thanks for watching. All right everyone, so that's a wrap for this video. If you don't care, go down and leave me a like, a comment, even subscribe to the channel and recommend it to your friends. It really helps us out. Thank you guys so much for joining in this time. That's it for Lived and Learned DIY. See you guys next time.